Welcome to Octane Mobile Gaming. Welcome once again to the channel. I'm your host, Octane, and today we have a new deck out. But before we get started on the deck, let me just say that the last event I only played for 3 hours. A total of 3 hours over 5 days because I've been so busy. My shifts has changed and I'm doing 12-hour shifts, so I haven't got much time when I get home from work. So I haven't been playing as much as how I used to play. 3 hours just wasn't enough to cut it really, so I didn't really do well in the event, and I was a bit disappointed generally on my performance. The next point with my time as well is that I've been missing out on getting back to a lot of you guys out there. Really sorry about that. I'll try and make a schedule and basically get back to you guys as quick as possible. One of the things that I need to do is I need to get the network app on my phone, because I generally just do everything concerning my games on my iPad. When I'm at work, I can't access my iPad, but I've got my phone all the time. So I need to get basically the network app on my phone where I can respond to you guys quite quickly. So sorry about that, guys. However, I've got a group on the network app. It's just called OMG, Octane Mobile Gaming. So you guys, if you want to get through to me, you can link me on the app, and you should be able to get through to me quite quickly, because I've actually downloaded the app on my phone and I've put the notification on. So as soon as you send a message, I should be able to respond to you quite quickly. If you leave a comment on the video as well, I've actually linked my YouTube to my phone as well, so you should be able to get through to me quite quickly. So hopefully I should be a bit more active when it comes to responding to you guys comments or general questions. Let's get straight into the deck for this week. The deck looks quite interesting. It's an Arcane Killer deck. So we've got Arcane Killer boost in the form of the Jailers. So this week as well should be quite interesting. Last week was really interesting. The decks were really powerful. People were doing some really crazy damage. This week, however, I haven't got the deck. Most times when it comes to the first event of the season, most people haven't got the deck because we haven't got any coins, unless you're gonna spend a ton load of cash to get the coins to craft the deck, or if you're lucky enough to get a deck. So let's look at Ultimate Form first and foremost. Uprising Coven, and this one will increase self damage by 200% for 2 turns. It will also create 6 Power Gem 5s, and it will attack for 5000% of recovery. It will also heal for the same amount. So let's take a look at the recovery of a 1 pink star ultimate form it hasn't been awakened, it hasn't been powered up, and the recovery rate is 1223. Now 5 times that is not a 5000 times that is, it's a decent amount, but it's not a massive amount, because what we're looking at is nuke damage. So nuke damage is basically based on your recovery. So what is going to happen is you're going to attack for 5000% of your recovery rate, and you'll also heal for the same amount. So you'll heal for 5000% of your recovery. Now I'm hoping with the boost from the damage and the boost from, say, the cards that you're going to use, the jailers and so on and so forth, your nuke damage will be quite massive. It should be, because this is the ultimate form and this is its event. So I'm expecting the nuke damage on this card to be really, really massive. It's not going to be OP, but it should be good enough to take a boss out on probably 1 or 2 strike. So let's see how this deck actually performs in the event. I don't really like nuke cards, and this is no different. Yes, I do like hard-worn guerrillas and I do like the freedom fighters, but those cards, the nuke damage is an addition to its actual damage. And that's the reason why I love those cards. You don't rely primarily on the nuke damage. The nuke damage is just an addition. Plus your nuke damage is actually multiplied by the number of keys you actually use. So if you use 3 keys, it's multiplied by 5. I'm hoping the nuke damage on this card is actually going to be multiplied by the number of keys you actually use. I'm expecting it to be. So I haven't got the deck, but I'm hoping to see somebody with the deck actually doing quite insane damage. So I'm not going to say this deck is overpowered. I'm not going to say it's really powerful. I'm just waiting to see what this deck actually does in the event. The good thing about this card, what I really love about this card, is that it cleanses 1 enemy debuff from each water commander era on your team. So it doesn't cleanse all the cards on your team. It only cleanses water commander era. And that's one of the things that I was a bit disappointed with the last Earthslayer deck, is that it does the same thing. It cleanses debuff only from Earthslayer cards. This one only cleanses debuff from water commander cards. If it was all water cards, it would be absolutely brilliant. Again, it dispels 1 enemy debuff. Now the dispelling 1 enemy debuff is really, really good. Now we're gonna have a look at the news link, because I did, as I said earlier, look at the network app, and there's some good news in regards to the counter skill on the ultimate form and the support card. The ultimate form now carries the same counter skill as a support card, whereas before, if you wanted to counter the debuff of a particular boss, you had to run the support card. Now you don't need to run the support card. You just put an ultimate form on the deck, and the ultimate form will do the same thing as the support card, which is really good. However, the support card hasn't really got any use. Its only use before was being able to actually dispel a particular debuff that no other cards within the deck was able to dispel. Now, even that it doesn't do anymore. So support cards to me are a thing of the past. Where is its place in the game going forward? Because support cards don't realistically generate a lot of power gems. If they do generate power gems, they generate mostly gems. And the support cards that we're getting now can't fill the entire board with even gems. They can only generate a maximum of 10 gems. And personally, for me, support cards need to be looked at, they need to be upgraded alongside event cards. Event cards as well, they need a bit of TLC, they need to be upgraded, they need to be at the point where they used to be years ago, where you had two support card and a event card, you could actually perform quite well within the event. You're not going to be in the top 100 using two support card and one event card. Back then, you're not going to do it now. But at least back then, you went into the pack as it was back then. You got two support card. You were quite happy because you knew you could actually do something within the event. Now support cards haven't really got any place in the game. Event cards aren't much different. Yeah, you've got event cards that can spawn a few power gems and can probably boost themselves or boost a deck or stuff like that. But generally, if you've got the master collection card, you've got the ultra rare, and you've got the ultimate form, that's what you're gonna go for. You've got decks out there where we don't even use the master collection card and the ultra rare, we only use the ultimate form. So I mean, it really needs to be looked at when it comes to support cards. But I'm glad that the ultimate form has got the same counter skill as the support card. Now there are two passive on this card. The first passive, Everlasting Lifeline, will create 4 water power gem 5s whenever this hero attacks. The passive as well, Unstoppable, this hero cannot be silenced. So when it say it cannot be silenced, does it mean if a boss is running Slumber, or say in GVG, Slumber doesn't affect this card, or does it mean it cannot be silenced by power gem silence or gem silence? It doesn't. It's not really specific. It's not really saying exactly what it means. So let's go a bit more into the deck, and hopefully we can understand what it means when it says this card cannot be silenced. Now let's take a look at the ultra rare. And the ultra rare will create 4 water power gem 5s. It will also attack for 5000% of recovery, ignoring enemy armor and affinity. And then it will heal for the same amount. Let's go back to the ultimate form and see if we missed something on the ultimate form. Now the ultimate form attacks for 5000% of recovery, and it heals for the same amount, and it cleanses 1 enemy debuff from each water commander card on your team, and it dispels 1 enemy's buff. Now the ultra rare has got something quite different on it. No, it's not the ultra rare, it's a master collection card, sorry. So the master collection card has got something totally different. So the master collection card, which I thought it was ultra rare at first, but now I know it's the master collection card. It creates 4 water power gem 5s, which I'm glad to see power gem 5s back onto master collection card. It also attacks for 5000% of recovery, ignoring enemy armor. So if the enemy's got armor, it ignores the armor and it strikes the enemy. And it also ignores affinity. So it doesn't matter what affinity the boss is, it's going to take the same amount of damage. If I'm reading this correct, this is absolutely brilliant. So this card, it doesn't matter what affinity boss it goes up against, it will ignore the affinity and it will just strike it same as if it was going up against a fire boss. That is absolutely brilliant if that's what they're actually implying here. Then it will heal for the same amount. So it also heals for 5,000% of its recovery. Free turn cooldown, quite brilliant. Passive Everlasting Lifeline creates 4 water power gem 5s whenever this hero attacks. So this hero can actually create 8 water power gem 5s, which is quite brilliant. I think this is a really good Master Collection card. Absolutely brilliant Master Collection card. Our ultra rare for this week is Blood Blessed Brawler, which will increase self damage for 200% for 2 turns, create 6 power gem 5, also cleanses 1 enemy debuff from each water commander card on the team, and dispel 1 enemy buff. Quite brilliant. Passive is unstoppable, and this hero cannot be silenced. Again, I really would like a bit more information on the passive to see exactly when it says it cannot be silenced, what does that mean? That's something that needs to be clarified. So those are your 3 top cards: Master Collection card, Ultra Rare, and your Ultimate Form. Now we've got 3 cards for this week. This one, Wavebond Whisperer, it's a support card. I haven't got much use when it comes to the event. This one as well, Bunny, hasn't got much use when it comes to this event as well. This one is quite an old ultra rare. Now this one, its skill is quite good. However, the stats on it are absolutely, what could I say? For an ultra rare, even though it's an ultra rare, this card isn't really gonna do much for you. First and foremost, it's an attacker and human, so it cannot be boosted by anything apart from something that boosts human cards. So this isn't gonna be boosted by Arcane Killer, so it doesn't really do much for your deck. The only thing it can do for your deck, you can become immune to enemy damage for 1 turn. It's got a 5 turn cooldown, which we expect from immunity card. And if hit by an enemy attack while immune, it will heal for 5% of recovery per 2 human intensity. So it uses human intensity to actually give you quite good heal. If attacked while immune, it becomes resilient, gaining 25% damage reduction for 3 turns. Now, the good thing about this card, it's got something that's called Power Shot, which each time this hero attacks, it will create 3 water gem and 2 power gem 4s, plus 1 additional power gem if resilient, and increase human intensity by 10. So now this card is dealing with human intensity. For the last 20 months, we haven't been using stuff like human intensity or any of those old intensity. We don't use them anymore. We're dealing with arcane intensity. We're dealing with the new intensity type. So this card doesn't really work well with the current meta or the current deck. So this card, it's 13 times, but making it 13 times doesn't make it useful at all. Because 13 times what? 13 times the stats that's on it. These stats are absolutely ridiculous in the current meta. When I first saw it, I thought, oh yeah, they've taken one of the old cards and they've given it a buff. So basically, the stats have changed. So the attack probably was taken up to 9,000, recovery taken up to 2,000, and the health probably taken up to 12,000. But when I saw the stats on it, I said, this card is absolutely useless in the current method. This can't be used. 13 times doesn't make it useful. It's an ultra rare, which is really good, but there's nothing really and truly about this card. This card is absolutely useless. All 3 cards are useless. Let's take a look at the support cards. So your support card for this week, will create 10 water gems. It's got a passive Energizer, which increases the maximum HP by 10%. Increasing the maximum HP is quite good. You've got heal on your Master Collection card, and you've got heal on your ultimate form, which is quite good. So you don't really need to increase your HP, and creating a few water gems isn't really going to do much for you. So as I say, support cards nowadays are quite disappointing. This is no different. It's a garden variety support card. Waste the time and waste the effort. Let's take a look at the event card. Now, the event card for this week will create free water power gem 4s. Quite good. It will also attack for 3000% of recovery, ignoring enemy armor and affinity, and then heal for the same amount. Charge rate 9, cooldown 3. It's got a passive as well. Create free water power gem 4s whenever this hero attacks. That is not too bad for a event card. The fact that it does basically the same thing as the Master Collection card, but just a bit less when it comes to the type of power gems that it produces and the level of power gem that it produces, is not too bad. I can work with a main card like this one. So the main card for this week is not too bad. However, the support card for me, we could have done without the support card. Don't really need the support card. Hasn't got any use. It's just like the free additional cards that they've actually given us for this week. We could have used the ultra rare for deck that this one came from. The ultra rare would have been far better. The Master Collection card or the ultra rare for the deck that this one was from could have been far better. And this one is a Generation 2 card. Really haven't got any place in the current meta unless it's been revamped, re-energized, and have different stats on it, because these stats ain't really gonna cut it. That's just a collector's item. Okay, so let's go and have a look at news link and see if the information in the news link is the same information that we've got in the network app. Super special treacherous Maeve. So this is about spending £100 or $100 to buy a gem to get a card that we don't really need. How to get the boys, that is absolutely useless because I'm not really interested in that. Counter skill update, so this is what I'm talking about. So the ultimate form has now got the same counter skill as the support card, which is really good. Commander update. So solo bosses have had their HP slightly reduced to bring them more in line with Crusade mission difficulties. That's really good, really like that. To increase the number of guild boss keys, enemies that drop guild keys and guild key gifts will appear more often in Crusade mission. That's really welcome as well. The maximum number of waves in Crusade mission has been reduced. That's really good because when you get higher, you get like 8 waves. 8 waves is a bit too much, so it takes you a long time to farm a lot of your keys. So reducing the number of wave, not sure how much wave they've reduced it to, but if they take it down to probably 6, that would be really appreciated. While enemies in later Crusade mission and waves are more difficult, Crusade missions will still continue to be challenging, but can be completed more quickly. That's really welcome. The Radiant Pink season has arrived. So that's the new name of the new season. And with it, you've got a new skin. So let's take a look at the rewards for this season. So this is a new season, Radiant Sphinx season. And this season brings with it, let's see the rewards. Crowns. It brings with it a card that we can't really use that much. It's an event card, collector's item. You get a 2 Generation 2 cards and 2 Generation 2 relic. The relics are not too bad. However, the cards, they're only good for one thing, to increase your dust count. You get Elaine, which is not bad. Legendary cards are, personally for me, are only good for one thing, and that's bounty. Don't really use them in event, don't really use them in GVG, don't really use them even in the proving ground. I don't really use them in anything apart from bounty. These cards, for the amount of effort and time that it takes to actually upgrade these cards to their maximum, they should be a lot more powerful. They should be a lot more usable. Legendary Crystal, use it to upgrade your legendary relics. Enchanted Runes, this card is not too bad from the Wandering Clan. The best thing about the collection is the Maul, the Dragoon, or some of the time you don't get a Dragoon but you get a Warden. Cudgel Cores are not really all of that, but it's okay. This is the best thing that the collection has actually got. And it's only since I joined the new guild that I'm actually in is when I actually realized the importance of these relics. So trying to complete the collection to get these relics, they can be really important when it comes to GVG. So that's the best thing about the collection, is that. Everything else, Dragoon is not too bad. I mean, the Enchanted Maul is not too bad. GVG stuff. Everything else is pretty much a waste of time. That's my opinion, my perspective. Okay, so that's the deck for this week. Is it a brilliant deck? It remains to be seen, because it's a deck that does new damage based on your recovery. So I'm waiting to see if it actually is a deck that does really good damage. So I'm gonna basically hold off on making any comments about the deck or saying that it's a good deck or it's a bad deck, and I'll wait and see tomorrow. Hopefully, if I go into the 500 gem vault tomorrow, I might get a master collection card or ultra rare. I'd rather a master collection card rather than the ultra rare, even though the ultra rare does boost its damage. It could be a really, really good damage dealer. So it's a toss up between the ultra rare and the master collection card, because the master collection card does ignore affinity and it does ignore armor. So that's really good. That's something new. However, the ultra rare does boosts itself. So with the boost coming from the jailers and the boost coming from itself, because it does boost damage and not attack, having the ultra rare on your deck, you could do really, really good damage with just that one card. But the deck that I'm planning to run tomorrow is actually this one. That's it. I know it's a Slayer deck. It's a mixture of Slayer and Commander. It hasn't got the counter skills on it. Frozen Devastation, Arcane Killer. Then I've got Watcher of the Wave, and I've got the ultimate form from the same deck, which is Lost Kingdom Guardian, which has actually got none other than haste on it. So as long as I can power up my Frozen Devastation and my jailers alongside Consecrated Wizardess. Yes, I'm running Consecrated Wizardess because I don't need to actually create quite a lot of Earth Gems. Just need to actually get the boost from Consecrated Wizardess and the jailers. The great thing about this deck that I'm running it in conjunction with, Lost Kingdom Guardian, is that this deck does a turn delay. So does the Master Collection card from the same deck. So I'll be getting one turn delay from Watcher of the Waves, one turn delay from Lost Kingdom Guardian, and I'm getting a turn delay from the Jailers. And we all know what the Jailers does when a card that uses a turn delay is actually activated. So you'd be getting 3 turn delays. So the Jailers will have its passive activated 3 times. So you'll get 3 times boost from this card and 3 times boost from that card. So you get a 6 time boost from these 2 cards. And all of that boost will be boosting these 3 cards. Lost Kingdom Guardians, Watcher of the Waves, and none other than Frozen Devastation. And Frozen Devastation has got that nuke damage at the end. It's not really massively powerful, but it does help. I did do a test of the deck against one of the bosses in Legend Trials. So I'll be putting that video at the end, let you see what type of damage this deck can actually do. And it does work. So that's the deck I'll be running if I don't get the Master Collection card that I really want. Because if I get the Master Collection card or Ultra Rare from the 500 Gem Vault, I'll just swap this card out. And then I'll have a damage dealer that can do massive damage. Okay. So that's all I've got for you today. As I said, I've got a group on the network app, and I now have the network app on my phone, and the notification is turned on. So if you leave me a message, if you look me up on the network app, it's called OMG, all lowercases, OMG, Octane Mobile Gaming. If you link me up on the chat and you leave me a message, I'll get back to you as quick as possible. You can leave a like on the video. You can leave a comment on the video. You can leave a question on the video as well. Until the next video, peace, stay safe, and enjoy the rest of your day. Bye for now.